Each season, Guys Telling Stories seeks out fascinating people with a good story to tell. My name is Bill Easton. The man next to me is Rich Douglas. He's my co-host. We're a couple of guys who love a good story, so join us on our quest to find fascinating people with a good story to tell. This is Guys Telling Stories.
Welcome to Guys Telling Stories.
How we doing, Rich?
Good. We're talking Aruba, Bill.
Yep. Yeah.
It's that time of year. You need a vacation.
I'm ready to go back. I've been there twice now, Rich.
You've been there twice. I've been there once, and we actually went together not too long ago.
That's right.
And the more I researched for this episode about spending basically the perfect day in Aruba, the more I realized we got to go back.
Yep, I agree. Did I ever tell you the story when we first got there?
Lay it on me. What do you got?
We we got used to looking stuff up on your phones. Everything's on your phones, So I call down and I make sure that we're going to have phone access in Aruba. And they're like, yeah, no problem. You're not going to have data, though. You can use your phone. We have a nice plan, but there's no data. I was like, all right. So we get to Aruba. We're in the airport. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of cabs. There's a lot of things to get you where you're going to go. I just figured, let's just get in the cab, tell them where we're going, no problem. So get in the cab. He goes, where are you going? And I was like, hold on. I go to pull my email up with the address and the name of where we're staying.
You tried to use data.
And yeah.
Yeah, right away.
Nope, can't do it. So I can't. So we're in it. And I was like, well, I'll figure it out. We're going to Eagle Beach, which is about maybe a 15-minute cab ride from the airport.
Okay.
And I'm going through emails. Some of the emails you can still get because they're saved on your phone if you opened it on your phone. I didn't open it on the phone.
No.
I opened it on the computer, which is in the trunk.
You're out of luck, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going through like text messages. I know I texted people where we're staying, and those are saved. And finally, I found the name of the place, which is called Oceana. So I tell him, and we're like 2 minutes away at this point. He's like, oh, perfect. So we get there, we pull in, and it's there's a guard station and stuff. And he's like, cab pulls in, he's hi, and they start speaking Dutch or another language. There's a lot of languages down in Aruba. And the cabbie goes, so he wants to know what room you're in. And I was like,
it's in the email.
I don't know. and he basically he's not upset. There's no like waiting time on these cabs. So he's just hanging out. He's like, well, we got to figure it out. Is there someone you can call? And I was like, I don't have this guy's number. It was an Airbnb.
Okay.
So I can't get on the app for Airbnb because I don't have stuff. So, I tell him I need to get to my computer. He opens the trunk. I pull the computer out. I can't find the email. I can't get online. He moves a little closer, and I can connect to their public Wi-Fi.
Oh.
And we sat in that cab for like 10 minutes. The guard wouldn't let us in until he knew where we were going.
Okay.
So the cabbie and all the cab drivers we took, super friendly like that.
So the people is what hit you first.
Yeah. That was my first impression. Was like this guy picked us up. We're wasting his time. He does this for a living, and he's super cool and chill about it. And we took care of him, obviously, for his time, but he didn't complain.
Yeah, that's what they probably call it, One Happy Island.
Yes,
huh?
One Happy Island. It's on their license plate.
You see that everywhere. Well, Bill, it sounds like you got a warm welcome once you got there, and the people were great. And we're talking Aruba today, and the idea is to share what would be the perfect day in Aruba. Mm-hmm. But we spent a week there, and now we feel like we got to go back because there was so much we didn't do.
You don't have to do anything, Rich.
I know.
That's the best part.
We really enjoyed our stay. We just sat by the pool and looked forward to maybe having a happy hour or going out to dinner. But our guest today did some stuff that we didn't do, and maybe you would want to do, the listeners out there, if they went to Aruba. Yeah,
we know this lady.
Well, our first guest is Ilana from Life Well Cruised. And I said first guest, Bill, because the second half of the episode, we're going to be talking to Dave and Lisa from Basic Travel Couple.
I love surprises.
Well, let's dive right in, Bill. The goals for today are to find out some of the best beaches, some of the best attractions, and also some of the best like bars or restaurants if you're looking to grab like a cold drink or a bite to eat.
I'm on it.
All right, so let's get right to it. Let's talk to Ilana. Ilana, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. Yeah, back.
Thanks so much. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
I don't know if you know this. You're our first two-time guest.
I was going to do a drum roll, but you already said it.
I think It's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be back. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Happy to have you.
Well, as you know, we're talking Aruba today, and we're hoping to hear some things about attractions and maybe some of the best beaches, and that might be a good place to start. I know, how many times have you been there cruising?
I've been there twice.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Bill, you've been twice, and I've been once.
Right. We've never done it on a cruise, though, and that's important because a lot of people do. And our experience is long-term, where Ilana's is going to be kind of like, what do you do when you're there for the one day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, having the perfect day there is going to be something different for everybody. An excursion for you that might sound fun may not be something that Bill and I want to do, and vice versa. But let's start with the beaches. Ilana, if I had to ask you, what's the best beach? Do you have a preference?
Well, I think there's a couple of beaches that I think are great. I think Eagle Beach is one, but Palm Beach is one we really like because we do like a little bit of activity when we're in Aruba. So that's a beach we really like for that.
They connect, I think, at some point. It's a mystery, but I think you can walk from Eagle Beach to Palm Beach without anything intruding.
I heard that, but it's a long walk, it seems.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. And no one knows. There's no line in the sand.
What about you? What about you, Bill? Would you pick one over the other?
Eagle Beach is definitely like a little more relaxed and quiet. But Palm Beach is where you start getting into a little more tourists and a little more action.
Mm-hmm. Now, personally, we're pool people ourselves, but I would have to say that for us, the best beach really was Eagle Beach. We stayed at a little condo right there, and we had the pool, but a short walk to Eagle Beach. What we noticed is that there were fewer people, and they seem to have these free huts that you could sit underneath.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And of course... Exactly. If you wanted to rent a chair, there was somebody there like selling them along with an umbrella if you wanted to be closer to the water. But, if you brought your own towel and you just want to lie on a quiet beach, I think I would prefer that because it wasn't very crowded. And there were cruise ships in port that day.
Yeah. I've heard that before. Sorry, I had heard that even when you're on a cruise, if you want to go to a beach that's a little bit quieter, to definitely choose Eagle Beach.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should keep that in mind. If you had to describe the environment at Palm Beach, and maybe if you have any like fun memories or stories from there, what comes to mind?
So at Palm Beach, and again, like you mentioned, there's something for everybody. So for us, these days we're traveling with teenagers. So when we went the last time, our son was 17, and so our son and his friend and our friends, they really wanted to do like either sea doing or we settled on banana boating. So we knew that you could rent that there, and it was a busier beach. And that's really why we chose to go to Palm Beach itself. So to describe it, there are a lot of tall hotels, luxurious hotels, very busy. But we didn't really mind that because that's what we were kind of intending for the day. We did actually have an experience, though, on the banana boat that was fun. I don't know if you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay. So, anyway, anybody who knows me a little bit knows I'm a bit of a worrier, and I don't really love to do things that I think might be dangerous, but I can't stop everybody from doing everything. So we settled on the banana boats, and my son and his friend and his friend's girlfriend and our friend Pam, they were all going on the banana boat. They settled it. My husband and I were back at our chairs. We were kind of settling in. And my son ran back and he told me, he's like, Mom, guess what? I got you a free boat ride. I'm like, no, I don't really want a free boat ride. Like, no, it's great. It's a free boat ride. And the only thing that you have to do is be the official videographer for this banana boat trip, which really didn't appeal to me. But in any case, they were like, it's easy. It's not a big deal. You're just going to hold the phone up, like my iPhone. I'm just going to hold it up while I'm in a moving boat. And then, like, the people on the beach, they were like, they had started to tell me it's a good idea for me to go and to be on the back of the boat because then I could watch to see if anybody falls off and it will be safer. So that kind of convinced me. And so I did go along. And so as I was getting onto the little boat, and the driver was super nice. But as I got on, like, I was looking for the seatbelt for how I'm going to sit in the boat. And so I said, "Oh, excuse me, like, where's the seatbelt?" And he said, "Oh, I'm your seatbelt." No. So, so I sat down and he showed me, like, just hold on with one hand, and right under the seat there was a little metal bar, and he showed me how I should use my left hand to hold that, and to hold in my right hand my iPhone, which had a little strap, and I had everybody yelling at me to just hold the phone higher, because we had to make sure that I didn't mess up the video. So anyway, as we started to drive, like, yeah. So the first few seconds, honestly, 30 seconds in, I realized that I was like close to dying possibly, because it occurred to me with all of the very choppy water, like, you know, the way you bounce in a boat?
Oh, yeah.
That me holding on with my one left hand might just not keep me on the boat. And then I looked into, like, just right in front of me, which is the back of the boat and the motor, and I started to think about the little blades that were there and how if I didn't hold on tight enough, maybe I'd fall straight forward and get killed. Oh, wow. So in any case, when we did review the video back, there's some swearing in the first minute and a half. So, but the rest of the time, it was actually like, it was a really fun ride. It was longer than I wanted. It was like a good 20 minutes, which was 10 minutes too long for me. But they had fun. Their friend Michelle fell in a couple times. So I was yelling encouraging words to her to hang on. We were coming back. And anyway, it was fun though. And that's like what memories are about, right? Like these, like things that happen while you're on vacation.
Well, right, because you picked the more active beach. You were there with your family. They know you're a worrier, so you could just sit and make sure everything's okay. But your son, being the thoughtful young man that he is, made sure that Mom got a free ride. And for our listeners, if you want to see a picture, Ilana, I hope you don't mind posting it again, or we'll share it as well. You look a little worse for the wear at the end of that. At the end of that boat ride.
Video. I don't want more than the picture.
For sure.
Well, I'll jump in here. One of the best experiences we had there was walking down and taking a look around and seeing all these piers that sort of jut out from the sand. And one that's coming to mind for me is called De Palm Pier. And as we walked up and we had our baby in a stroller, I think it was right around the holidays, we were wearing Santa hats.
Fun.
It really was fun. We realized that we got there at the most perfect moment, because at the end of the pier, I would recommend checking this out. There is a restaurant/bar called the Bugalo Beach Bar and Grill. And I'll say that again, Bugalo Beach Bar and Grill. And we got there right at happy hour, and all of a sudden, the wait staff and the bartenders sort of put on some costumes and the type of things you would wear if you were singing karaoke, maybe a funny hat, or maybe like a lei. And they started to sing, and they're actually really, really good singers and performers. So we have our baby in our arms, our Santa hats on our heads, and we're sipping on these cold drinks at the end of a pier. It's just the most beautiful scenery you could imagine. And all of a sudden, like I said, the bartender that just served you a drink is now rapping a verse
fun.
Yeah, in the middle of, I think it was a Madonna song, Like a Prayer, and then meanwhile, when he's done rapping a verse, the other waitresses come right back in and they start singing and clapping Like a Prayer. And that environment was one that we wanted to stay for the next couple of hours. So I'm sure they do happy hour specials, and the food was actually pretty good. Bill, I don't know if you remember, we went back for breakfast a couple days later.
Yes, we did.
So if you like some action and you are there or looking for a place where it might be lively and there's good music, I would recommend that if you're checking out Palm Beach.
Cool, that's a good move.
I actually just wrote a note about it, and I'll add that even to, I have a blog post about Aruba, just a few things about it, but I'll add that in there. That's a great story.
You know, speaking of De Palm, I know there is something called De Palm Island, and again, Bill and I have only heard about it from friends. Do you know anything where you could, help our listeners know if it's worthwhile to check out?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I haven't actually been there myself, but I do have some friends that did go. They were on the same cruise as us, and their children were a little bit younger, and they were looking for really something to do with their kids, something that was all-inclusive. Because sometimes when you're on a cruise and you go to the beach and you start to buy everything separate, it does really add up. So they wanted something all together, and this really appealed to them. It was all-inclusive: food, beverages, snorkeling equipment, banana boat rides, water slides. I say for families with young children, even though people could do it if they're couples. But just because if you take a look at it, the water slides aren't huge water slides. They're sort of small water slides. So I think if you had kids that were anywhere between 3 and 12 or 13, I think that would probably be like the age that everybody would really, really have a good time. If they were older than that, maybe they'd like something that was a little bit more active. But a shallow beach. So I think it's a really great place to go if you're looking to spend the day when you're in Aruba, whether it's like you're there for a week or if you do a cruise port day.
Yeah, it might be a worthwhile excursion, especially if you've already, for example, maybe checked out some of the other sites, or you've already done a tour and you're coming back for a second or third time. So I'm going to kick it over to you, Bill. Is there any sort of sites or attractions or places that you want to recommend because you just have enjoyed when you were there personally?
Everything about Aruba is 100% relaxing. No, that I'm serious. I wasn't trying to be funny. It is just... it is a type of place where you don't feel any pressure to do anything. There aren't people that come up to you and try to sell you beach towels or things that they made. It's just whatever you want it to be, you can make it. They have that, like you said, you have your banana boat, your crazy boat. They have catamarans. They have sailboats. You can rent boats there for yourself. You can go fishing. You can kind of make it whatever you want, and all the experiences are great because there's no pressure. I do know now if I want to go on the banana boat I'm going to bring my own little camera.
Your own camera?
And I'm just going to hold out so I get the free ride.
It might be a good way to get a buy one, get one.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But, Rich mentioned happy hour at that Boogaloo, and... that's what I was into. I started liking the happy hours. Now, happy hour in Aruba is a little different than happy hour here. They're like really an hour long. So when you do happy hour, sometimes you only have an hour to enjoy your drinks. But that didn't stop at a few places. Stayed longer.
Well, let's talk about a few of those places because I know for people like us who were staying more than one day, we were trying to seek out if there were any deals. We don't necessarily want to go to a place that is, quote unquote, a tourist trap. But we are looking for a place that gets good reviews and maybe has like a buy one get one or a half off.
Oh, I got that. That is Horizons at Amsterdam Manor.
What's the name of it? You recommend?
Horizons.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it's a perfect rated bar, which is hard to find. You don't find 5.0 bars on Google ever.
5 stars.
So 5 stars. It's called Horizons. It is inside Amsterdam Manor. The bar is located right above the pool. You can look over right onto the beach because you're up high. Peter is the bartender. Remember Peter?
He was great.
So the first time me and Dawn went to Aruba without you guys, we found this bar and we went there and it was our first night and it ended up just being happy hour, which was awesome. And he made us a bunch of different cool drinks. Everybody loves this guy. And then we're sitting at the bar and we're watching. He has music playing on one TV and he has something else on the other. And we asked him we're gonna find a nice Italian restaurant. Where should we go? He stops everything that he's doing. He goes to the TV, he turns off the whatever we're watching, has his computer up, puts Google Maps on, and he basically is showing us on the TV behind the bar and instructing us on how to get there, what to do, what it's called. Here's the menu, pulls up the menu. Do you it was incredible. So that's my recommendation is one, they have great drinks. They have 2 happy hours. That's right.
Like an early and a late?
They have an early and a late happy hour. First one is at 5 to 6, and then 9 to 10. So what we did, we go to happy hour, then we go eat, and then we go back for happy hour.
It sounds like
that sounds like a perfect night.
Oh yeah. 2 for 1 everything.
Exactly. I mean, if you're looking for a place, I know that they made craft cocktails and the prices were affordable, especially when they're buy one get one.
Yep, fresh ingredients. He muddles everything in front of you: jalapenos, cucumbers, oranges, whatever it is. It's all fresh. It's amazing.
And I will say that we went with you, Bill, on our recent trip. And the interesting thing about Horizons is that it is up just one flight of stairs, open air. So you are basically on a second level, almost like a rooftop, overlooking a pool and overlooking the beach. So whether you're there for sunset or whether you're just there for, a cocktail, you're sitting out with the breeze in your face. You're looking down at the cars and the people passing by. You can see the water. It really is a good place to check out if you're looking for one.
You should tell everyone about that restaurant where you got your Christmas picture taken.
Yeah, you know what? I will, Ilana, I want to ask you if you have any fun places, but I'll go first.
Yeah, I want to hear.
We're looking for a bite to eat, and we had our son with us, and we had to go to somewhat of a little bit of an earlier dinner, maybe right after happy hour. And there was of course, yes, there was this rooftop Italian place. And I know when you think of Aruba, you don't think of Italian necessarily, but everyone has their own preferences. So this one I'm going to recommend.
It was very good.
And the name of the place was Azzurro Ristorante Italiano. Now, that was my best Italian right there. I'll say
Perfect,
that again.
I think.
Azzurro Ristorante Italiano. Yeah. So this is probably the premier place that we can recommend if you're able to be there when the sun is setting. For us, we were able to go up there. And I think, Bill, I know we're talking a lot about happy hours. I think it was still happy hour there.
Oh, it might have been, yeah.
And so it was buy one, get one or whatever. But we were ready to have a nice big dinner with appetizers and bread. And the pictures literally are all over our home right now from that restaurant of us holding our son up and taking a picture of the island, taking a picture of the beach, taking a picture of the horizon. And literally you get the island, the beach, the horizon all in one shot.
My mom wants a picture for her birthday. I showed her a picture on the phone. She goes, I want you to blow that up for my birthday present. And I put it in a frame. I was like, oh, okay.
I'll post that one. And Ilana, I'll share this with you and everybody else. When we were down in Key West for this bike trip we took last year, my wife, she splurged a little bit, and she never buys it's anything like this. She bought these Hawaiian shirts for me and my son, and she bought a dress matching for her in the same pattern. So I didn't know she brought these on the trip. She busted them out right before we went to this dinner, and so the picture is not only beautiful, and everybody should take one. It's of us all wearing matching shirts and stuff. So you get a few moments like that where you can remember that picture in your mind for the rest of your life, and this place is one of them.
Yeah,
that sounds super nice. Wow.
What about you? I know you were probably. What time do cruise ships leave usually? Is it 9 p.m., 11 p.m.? Is it? Do you get the opportunity to maybe grab a bite or a drink before they head off?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they leave as early as 5 or 6 o'clock. But I have noticed over the last couple of years, a lot of the cruise lines are starting to add those longer days. So sometimes 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. And on the cruise that we were just on, we were in Aruba, I think until 9 or 10. So certainly late in the evening, enough to be able to stay out until sunset and that kind of thing, which I think is great. This way, people can experience the islands a little bit into the evening rather than getting onto the ship at 5 or 6 o'clock. When we were actually in Aruba and we were in, I'm going to mispronounce this, so I think of it as Oranjestad, but I did actually Google this. And it's Oranjestad, I think, the pronunciation of that town. So when we were there, we actually stopped at a little place called the Paddock, which is right near the cruise ship on the main road, and it's right next to the that little flea market. I don't remember the name of the flea market. I apologize. But it's right next to the flea market, Wharfside Flea Market. That's what it's called. And but the bar is just really eclectic looking. It's Dutch, and it also has sort of Dutch food as well as American food, and really good drinks and beer and that kind of thing. But it's the view. It just it's got this amazing view right on the ship, and you're just on a very simple wharf. But we were able to sit and see the beginning of a sunset there, and it was just really, really beautiful. It is really kind of eclectic. The entire interior is covered with a combination of license plates and dollar bills. But, everybody was really, really friendly, and it had a fun vibe. And so we really enjoyed it there. And it's called the Paddock.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting place. I know Bill's pulling up some of the pictures right now, and it looks like they have food specials, they have drink specials. But
you can eat ribs Wednesday after 5.
if you're there
$15.
If you're there on a Wednesday, yeah.
Yes, and people say the ribs are really good. We didn't have the ribs, but we've heard that they're good.
Well, if you're trying to make this perfect day in Aruba happen, we're giving you lots of options. Everything from some of the options for the best beaches, some of the sites. I know we left a few out, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And also some of the restaurants and bars. Well, Bill, I know there's more to do on Aruba than we did, and Ilana, of course, there's more to do than you can do in one day.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for coming back on the show. First time we had the
two guests.
We
got a mailer. We'd only get that's 5. When you become a 5-guester,
yeah, we'll send you a special jacket. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you got a couple more times on the show before that. Can you remind people, Ilana, if they want to check out some of your blog posts about Aruba or some of the other places that you've been, where's the best place to send them?
They can come and visit me on my blog. It's called lifewellcruised.com. And then also, I'd love it if anybody wants to come and join me over on Facebook. I've got a little community over there. That's also at lifewellcruised. And of course, I'm on Instagram. So people can connect with me there.
Great. Thank you, Ilana.
Yeah, thanks so much for talking about Aruba. Yeah.
Oh, and thank you so much.
Bill, Aruba.
Aruba's good. Yeah. She's good. She's a good guest.
Ilana, thank you so much for helping us talk a little bit about Aruba. But Bill, I feel like we still left a little meat on the bone. There's a little bit left to talk about.
We can call her again.
Well, let's call our second guest. We have Dave and Lisa from Basic Travel Couple.
Ooh, that's right, the surprise.
Yeah, I know you love surprises, and these two did everything on Aruba that we did not even talk about yet.
Okay, good.
I'm talking that famous Flamingo Beach.
Oh, yeah.
The natural pool, the Jeep ride.
Yeah.
The 4x4. It could be a UTV, a Jeep. Just going to that other side of the island and taking those pictures and those videos. And of course, Flamingo Beach and taking those pictures and seeing those animals. I mean, is that on your radar? Is that something you want to do?
Well, we almost did it. I thought I rented a Jeep. It did. I don't know what happened actually.
Well, you know what I want to find out is if it's for everybody. How do you if you're only there for a day or you only have a couple days, how do you get on Flamingo Beach? And I also want to ask a couple questions about the 4x4 tour, because from the videos I've seen, you get like kind of dirty. I'm wondering if it's safe. Can you bring kids? We got to ask them all of that.
Sounds good.
If you don't mind, I'm going to take this one on my own.
Go for it.
Because I know you got a conference call.
I do.
All right, so let's get to it. Let's talk Aruba with Dave and Lisa. Lisa and Dave, thanks so much for joining us on Guys Telling Stories. How you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
We're excited to talk about Aruba, but before we get too far into it, can you guys just tell us a little bit about your blog, the name of your site? What are you guys all about?
Sure. We're Basic Travel Couple. We're a travel hacking blog.
Yeah, we work really hard to find people the best deals using travel points and researching all the different flight strategies to really save the most money and have the best experience while traveling to different places all throughout the world.
Yeah, I found you guys when I was trying to do some online research about Aruba and the best sites, attractions, tours to go on. And it sounds like you have more stories than we have time for today. So where should people go to check out a little bit more about some of your travels and some of your travel hacking tips?
They can go to our blog page. It's basictravelcouple.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Our Facebook is a Facebook group, Basic Travel Tips. And that's, if they search Facebook for Basic Travel Couple, it links it through there also.
Well, great. So be sure to check them out. But let's dive right into it, guys. You visited that famous Flamingo Beach. And when we were down there, we had our newborn son. And we just didn't have the time, or I guess the energy or the forethought to make that a reality. So Lisa or Dave, whoever wants to take this first one, how'd you guys manage to swing actually staying there?
Yeah, so we stayed at the famous Marriott Renaissance in downtown Aruba. The ticket price there per night can range from like $250 to $500. Mm-hmm. However, if you use points, it's 35,000 points per night. And Marriott has this great deal. If you book 4 nights using points, you get a 5th night for free. So that really lowers the overall point cost for a 5-night stay there. So With taxes, I think it worked out to be around $11.50 for 5 nights.
Yeah,
which was insane.
That's crazy, because what I saw was, if like we wanted to go for the day when we were down there, and it was something like going to be over $100 per person. We had to take a ferry to get to the island, and then there might have even been a chance that we didn't get tickets to actually go and walk the beach and take these amazing pictures. So you guys were able to stay there using points, and then have, what is it, unlimited access to the whole resort?
Yeah, basically you have to have your hotel key card. You have to get onto the boat. So there's a boat taxi that comes every 15 minutes, and it's about a 15-minute ride, 10-15 minute, to the private island. Renaissance is the only hotel that has access to it. So the boats come pretty often. If you if you're not staying there, you're right. It's $99 a person. You have to line up at 7. People line up at like 6 a.m. Tickets go on sale at like 7:30. And they only sell tickets if the hotel is at 80% capacity or less. So we went during spring break, which is a super popular time, and the entire time we were there, they didn't sell any day passes.
Okay, so yeah, if we would have been down there at the same time, we would have been out of luck. But
yeah, definitely.
I know some people might plan their trip around being able to access the beach or just take those pictures, because that's what you see online when you search Aruba. They look good on all the social media. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what did it actually look like? Like, does it look as good as the pictures, or does reality not live up to it? What in your own words, what does it look like? How would you describe it?
Well, it's kind of funny. So we get off the plane after traveling all morning. We get to Aruba, and our room's not ready. So we're like, all right, we're going to the beach. So we change in the bathroom. We hop on the boat, get over there as soon as possible. And so you get off the dock, and you walk up a little stairway. And there's 2 ways you can go. To the right is Flamingo Beach, and to the left is Iguana Beach. And a Flamingo Beach is supposed to be adults only during the day, and Iguana Beach is for families and children on the left. So we're like, of course, we're going to the Flamingo Beach.
Right.
We head right over there as soon as possible, and there's no flamingos in sight. We're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, did you take a wrong turn or what?
Seriously. So we're looking everywhere, and we're just like, do we miss them? Like, is this a scam? Like, where are these flamingos? We spent maybe 15-20 minutes. There's a nature trail that's on that side of the beach. We walked through the whole trail, still didn't see any flamingos. We saw a lot of iguanas, and we're like, all right, I guess we'll go over to the other side, the family beach, and just grab a bite to eat. So we make the turn to the family beach, and there they all are, these beautiful pink flamingos just spread out, and it was cool. It was really cool. So I think Lisa ran over to them, and I'm like, hey, we got to get some food for these guys. Yep. So I hustled back to the dock, and they have the quarter machines that you might find at a fair or zoo for 25 cents to get food for the flamingos. So I filled up a cup and ran back, and we fed them on the beach. It was really awesome. Got some great photos.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful. I mean, usually when you go to some place like that, you expect it to be super crowded and really overwhelming, but they have two different beaches really for people to hang out, like Dave was saying, and they have plenty of chairs for everyone to hang out. So it's really a super relaxed kind of atmosphere, and the water is crystal clear, super beautiful. They have the different cabanas that you could rent out to if you really wanted to, different bars on the islands and everything. So there's a lot to do.
They have a baby beach where the baby flamingos are kind of stowed away, and apparently they hold different wedding ceremonies over there and other private events. But you can walk over there too and feed those guys. They have a couple different nature trails, a lot of not just the classic beach chairs, but they have hammocks. They've got lounge chairs. They've got over the water chairs.
One of my favorite things that we actually didn't even mention is it's right by the airport, and you could watch airplanes land, which is so cool. There's a hammock and couches that are on the one facing, I guess, the airport where they land, and that's cool to just kind of watch them overhead to land. Yeah, I like watching airplanes, so. No,
it reminds me of St. Martin. I don't know if you guys have been there, but
No.
Well, put it on your list. We got engaged there, my wife and I, and there's a famous beach where the airplanes like land and take off.
Yeah.
So you'll have to check that out. But back to the Flamingo Beach, it really does sound like there's more to see and do than just take a couple of pictures with the flamingos. It kind of sounds like you could spend all day there.
Oh, absolutely.
Any recommendations for someone that doesn't have, access to the hotel like you guys did, meaning they're just coming in for the day? Because I've heard that sometimes the day passes are hit or miss, or it could cost over $100. Did you guys hear about any, secret ways to get in, or do you have any tips for somebody just coming for the day?
Yeah, I think the best kind of tips or advice I would have is try to travel on low season. So when hotels aren't really that booked and it's cheaper prices, that's going to be your low season is number one. Number two is that you should check at 7:30 a.m. is when you could try to get the day passes, but if the hotel is over 80% capacity, you won't be able to get one. So you can book a massage on the island. I think it's pretty expensive. I want to say it's like $200 or $300, but that gives you a day's pass onto the island. It might include a drink and food. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But I would say getting a massage will get you that day pass, and also booking on Wednesday nights. They have a dinner under the stars, and that is, a private group of people that they take over around 6:30 p.m. They start you off with a welcome drink, and then they take you over to the island, and it's just whoever paid for this dinner under the stars. It's like $65 a person, and it includes 4-course dinner. So that was really cool. It's really different to be on this private island. It was pretty quiet. They had some really nice music playing in the background. We could actually see the flamingos in the water, but they were far out, so we couldn't really take pictures with them unless we wanted to get in the water, which we were dressed up, so that wasn't happening.
Definitely sounds like it's something that people should make an effort to see, especially if they're going to Aruba and maybe they've been there before and they just haven't had a chance to get there. So I guess the hype is real. The pictures are as good as they look. And I don't know. It's something we're going to have to try the next time we're there for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed that you guys had an adventure, to say the least. And we, again, didn't get a chance to do like a 4x4 tour or rent a Jeep. You guys did a UTV adventure. I saw you have these like crazy goggles and like this like insane handkerchief covering your mouth. I wanted to hear about that because a lot of people were wondering if that's something that they should tackle, if it's safe. Do you get to see all the sites? What sites do you see? So whoever wants to take that one, what's the deal with those 4x4 tours?
Yeah, they are awesome. It's definitely a great time. I mean, anything with 4 wheels and you're just cruising through the desert and, on a tropical island, it just sounds like a dream, right? Like that's what I envision like a true adventure being like. So when I heard that they did this in Aruba, I was completely hooked. I'm like, we got to book this, Lisa. Like, how do we do this? So she found Around Aruba Tours, and they gave us a great deal. It was like $180 for a half-day guided tour, and we went all over the islands. It was really awesome. We started at the very first start, so they pick us up at the airport bright and early and took us to Phillips Animal Garden, and this place is unique. Lisa really loves ostriches. She got up and close and personal with a few.
My obsession with ostriches started when Dude, Where's My Car? Back in high school, me and my friend watched it so many times and like studied ostriches. And this was the first time I was like up close and personal with one. But they give you food so you can actually feed them. And if you've never fed an ostrich, like it's something you just have to do. They it doesn't hurt, but they just like peck at you, and it's cool. I don't know if you know, Aruba actually has an ostrich farm too that you can visit, but I know it costs money, and we were actually going to do that, but I didn't realize where we were going had ostriches there, so we were just able to kind of knock them both out at one point.
Yeah, we did hear about that, and especially like having like kids in tow, we were like, oh, maybe we'll go to like an ostrich farm. But again, it was kind of on the other side of the island, and I think if we went that far, I wanted to keep going to see like what else was there and keep exploring. So so that was your first stop in like a handful of them. What was next?
So after that, we got to pick out our car, or our UTV, and we had tons of choices. So it was almost like a UTV gang. There's maybe 15 of us, and we all hopped in. There's families of 4 that had the 4-seaters, and then Lisa and I picked a nice 2-seater. We headed off on a nice start to a where did we go? We went to
I think it was the first Catholic church in Aruba.
Yes, yeah, the Vista Chapel.
Alto Vista.
And that was dated back to 1750. It was really cool, really unique place to visit, and we shot some great photos there. I thought that was like a nice kind of warm up to get the day started on the UTV because it was just flat terrain. We kind of went around the Aruba roads to not that far, maybe like a 5-10 minute drive from the animal garden. After that, then we hopped back onto the UTVs and we did a little desert driving, kicked up the dust and the sand, and that's when things got real.
Okay. I mean, I've seen pictures of people covered in dust, dirt.
Yeah.
I've heard people getting flat tires, getting stuck. I mean,
oh my God, someone's tire fell off. We were right behind them, and someone's tire literally just fell off. And I think we recorded it. Dave was actually taking a what do you call it? Not slow motion, but when you speed it up, time lapse.
Okay. Time lapse.
So we actually had it on time lapse, which is actually, I totally forgot that happened. But yeah, and they kept driving on it. They didn't even realize that their tire fell off. So that was funny.
Well, can you describe what is the terrain like once it starts to get like a little off road, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's at first it's just kind of almost like driving across a beach, just sand and
rocks.
A couple rocks here and there, but it starts off really slow and gradual. So you go through the sand and you get covered for sure. Like it kicks up, and I'm really glad that we had purchased the goggles. So they charge $15 for a pair of goggles at around Aruba tours. I know that Lisa found some deals afterwards that we wish we would have bought them ahead of time for way cheaper on like Amazon. But I'm glad that we did buy the goggles because I can't even imagine how much sand would have been in my eyes driving around. So we after the church we headed over to the Baby Bridge and the Natural Bridge. It's actually the site of the Natural Bridge. The Natural Bridge was destroyed in 2005, but it used to be like a huge tourist stop where people would do cliff diving and kind of just take in the landscape because it's super unique over there. It's like nothing that I've ever seen before. So we shot some great photos of the Baby Bridge. We went on top of it and walked around and took in the water. After that, the third stop was to the Gousha Bana ruins, which is an old gold mill that was used by the Dutch in the 19th century. It was really historic, and it was almost like an old castle, kind of just placed in the middle of a beach or something. It was super random, but we loved checking that out. And we had about like 15, 20 minutes to explore. They also had a food truck there randomly, so if you wanted to get like a taco or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the only bathroom on the whole stop. So if you had to use the bathroom, that was the place to go.
I'm curious for, let's say you're traveling with different generations. You've got, I don't know, younger kids, maybe, some grandparents. Like, is there an ideal age or was there an age range you might recommend this type of excursion or adventure for?
That's a great question. I feel like we had in our group some children. Of course, you have to be 18 and older with a driver's license to rent the UTV or to drive it. But I'd say if you have any sort of like physical disability, like some of the bumps are definitely tough, and I could see somebody like, I don't know, like messing up a shoulder or their back or something on one of these if they're prone to injury or healing from an injury, like a recent surgery or something like that. But ideal age range, I'd say if you're healthy, maybe.
I would say probably 5. There was probably 5. Like little kids around that age. I don't know how much younger you would want to go, 5, 6. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess it really depends on your like athletic abilities. If you're pretty good in shape, like I've seen people that are in their 70s and they look like they're in their 40s, they could handle it. So I wouldn't really put an age limit on it. I think it's really, if you're adventurous and daring enough to do it. There was definitely older couples on there that they just went at their own pace. They drove a little bit slower. Mm-hmm. But I would say 5 is probably the youngest. 4 or 5. 4, I don't know. 4 might be too young, but
yeah, I don't know if there's like an age. I guess if you have the 4-seater and you have an adult holding on to a child and they're holding on, I would assume that you could probably go as young as a newborn. But
no, I would not take a newborn. But they do have seatbelts. They have seatbelts, which we wore every time we were on there. So
yeah, we did wear our seatbelts.
You're strapped in, so it's not like I ever felt like we were ever going to fall off or anything.
So up until that point, it was, I would say, like 90% of driving around was super safe. Like if we're going to talk about safety, before you get to the start of going into the national park to head towards the natural pool, it was completely safe. Like it's pretty casual driving, I'd say. Like nothing too crazy, but for sure, like hold on tight when you go into the national park and you start heading towards that natural pool, because that's when the uphill and the downhill slopes begin, and you have to hold on because it's a rough terrain. There's huge rocks, and you're just like forced right into them and jumping rocks and getting thrown all over the place.
And it's super windy too. So I think it might have been a little hard had we not have been on a guided tour to find. I mean, I didn't really see a path, but I wasn't really driving. I was trying to take pictures and videos and stuff. But I don't know if I would have wanted to drive it alone, but maybe that's just me. I think people did it on the tour. We saw Jeeps there and UTVs, and that's the only way I think you can get to the natural pools. So it's definitely a cool experience, and it was really awesome to see the pools. Unfortunately, we didn't go in because it was the tide was really crazy and it was super strong, so it wasn't safe for us to go in. So we listened to our guide and followed his recommendation to not go in. But I think it was just kind of an off time for when we went. Most of the time people are able to swim in there. But it was still a really cool spot to see.
I was curious, if you're there for a day and you're looking to like have the time of your life, what do you look like afterwards with all these bumps and roads and dusts and multiple terrains? Like, can I just go take off my goggles and run to happy hour? Or
you could, but
you'd probably look like a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah. My baby blue shirt is now brown.
Okay. Still. Yeah.
Yeah. The stains will not come off. I don't know. I think I'm just doing my laundry wrong. I might need some help from Lisa.
It's also, I was pretty sunburned because I put sunscreen on my shoulders, expecting that to be where you would get burned, but I never really put it on like my lower arms, and even my hands were burned. So luckily I had a long sleeve shirt, like a cardigan that I brought with me that I wore after a while, because after driving, after the 4 hours the guided tour, we went around by ourselves, and I definitely wore that cardigan the rest of the day to avoid getting any more sunburn. But I would say definitely use your sunscreen, make sure you get goggles ahead of time, and they'll give you the handkerchief. So
yeah, the handkerchief's cool.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
A nice souvenir. All right. Well, we've talked about the Flamingo Beach, the UTV tours, and I know you guys did a ton of other things. This might be a tough question to answer, but if you had to pick like a fun restaurant or bar to maybe wind the day down, does anything come to mind?
There were a lot of choices, a lot of good restaurants. I feel like Aruba is known for beautiful sunsets and really, really good seafood. I think our favorite was definitely the Flying Fishbone, and that might be one of the most unique restaurants that I think I've ever eaten at. The best part about it is, so you get there and you walk down the beach, through the restaurant, down the beach, and if you call ahead of time and make a reservation, you can actually secure one of the seats that are in the water.
Oh, okay.
So next to the table, you'll find a coat rack, but it's not for coats. It's actually for your sandals. So you hang your sandals up, and then you sit down at the table, put your feet in the water, and and enjoy like a great seafood dinner watching the sunset. It's just super cool and unique, and I've never experienced anything like that before.
Yeah, and the food was really awesome. They had a unicorn fish, which is something I didn't even know existed, but of course I got that and it was delicious.
Oh yeah. And the best dessert ever that we love so much is what is it called? What they set on fire?
Baked Alaska.
Baked Alaska is so good.
It's delicious.
Oh yeah.
So one more time, what was the name of this place where you sit in the water?
Flying Fishbone.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe put it on your list to check out because I've never eaten in the water. I've done the luau thing at maybe like in Hawaii or something, but to take the sandals off and hang them up, that sounds like a pretty good thing. Well, guys, thanks so much for talking about Aruba. It sounds like you probably have more stories, and we just don't have enough time today to hear all of them. So if people want to check out a little bit more about you and Aruba and some of your other travel guides and travel hacking tips, again, one more time, where's the best place to send them?
You can find us at basictravelcouple.com or on Instagram, Basic Travel Couple. And our really favorite place to find us is in our private Facebook group, Basic Travel 101, Points, Miles, and More. And that's our private community that is open to anybody that wants to join.
Awesome. Well, Lisa and Dave, thanks so much for talking Aruba with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
We
you.
really look forward to talk to you again sometime, Rich.
Sounds
Appreciate
good.
it.
There it is, Bill. Perfect day in Aruba. You take your pick.
What did I miss?
Well, they told us all about
I rushed right back.
everything from the amazing Flamingo Beach. I want to go, and it sounds like it really is a good time. But in terms of that 4x4 ride, it might be UTV instead of Jeep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and go with a tour guide and be prepared to get a little dirty. Maybe bring your own goggles.
BYOG.
But thank you to both of our guests. We had Ilana from LifeWell Cruise. Be sure to check out her blog posts and her travel guides at lifewellcruise.com. And Dave and Lisa from Basic Travel Couple. Again, you guys are awesome. I'd love to have you back on the show, just like Ilana, to hear more about your travels and some of those amazing travel hacking tips, too. So, Bill, I got to ask, when's our next Aruba trip?
Friday?
Too soon. But I think maybe around the holidays again for us. And this time around, we'll plan some of the excursions.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. Well, guys, be sure if you have a place you want us to cover, like Aruba, send it our way on our Suggest a Story page. That is found right on our website at guystellingstories.com. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and share this episode with friends who maybe are interested in taking a trip to Aruba. All right, Bill. As always, I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.
Till next time.